Okay, first one up is from Hanand. Keep rocking the show, Mr. C. You guys make my workday bearable. We all know that the world of streaming is going to change when Disney Plus launches, but I just read a report that says that 28% of Americans say they're going to cancel Netflix once they lose the Disney properties. Seriously? 28%? It can't be that high, can it? What do you guys think?
Yeah, so look, we've known for a while that since Disney announced that they were going to be coming out with their own streaming service, and they're coming out strong, and they're coming out with Mandalorian, and they've got Marvel original series coming from Loki and WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier and Hawkeye and on. Then all the Star Wars movies are coming and all the Marvel movies are coming and Simpsons is going to be on there and all that kind of stuff. We knew this was going to be a disruption for Netflix, a disruption that Netflix has known was coming for years. They've known this is coming and they've been preparing for it by investing billions of dollars into their own original programming, which was very astute on their part at the time. The question, though, we've been having is how much of a disruption is Disney launching going to have on the giant streaming service Netflix? Well, the Hollywood Reporter did an interesting survey, as a matter of fact. And here's what kind of came out of that. Some 22% of Americans, and this is from the Hollywood Reporter, in the new poll said that they would cancel their Netflix subscriptions if Disney Marvel Studios films like Black Panther, Avengers, Infinity War were removed from the platform. And 20% said they'd drop the streamer if Lucas and Star Wars movies left the service. Among the 18 to 29 age group, those numbers rise to 35% who said they'd drop Netflix over losing Marvel Studios films and 26% who replied that they'd cancel over losing Star Wars. They go through a bunch of different numbers, but the bottom line on it was that roughly 28% of people are saying they're going to drop Netflix once Disney pulls all their stuff off of it. Now, there's a couple things to keep in mind here. Number one, that doesn't automatically mean just because they say they're going to drop it, it doesn't mean they're going to drop it, right? Like a lot of people say, I'm not going to go see that movie, and then the movie comes out and they go see the movie, right? So just because 28% said that doesn't mean 28% are going to do it.
Right.
And if they do leave it, that doesn't necessarily mean that 28% will then go over and start signing up for Disney Plus. Not necessarily. But Rob, even with those asterisks, that is a number that has to be concerning for a Netflix at this point. Because it's not just Disney that's pulling their stuff with Marvel and Star Wars. Comcast is going to be launching their own service. They're going to be pulling the number one show, by mile, the most watched, viewed property on Netflix is The Office. And they're pulling that off too. They're going to be losing material left, right, and center. Like, I know they've been planning this for a while, but if you're in the boardroom, let's say you could be a fly on the wall in the boardrooms of Netflix right now, how much panic do you think is going on over there right now over this?
Well, I think a bit. There's a lot. I think there's a lot going on. Netflix, in a way, I've always thought is kind of a Ponzi scheme anyway. They're leveraged to the gills. They've borrowed billions and billions of dollars.
Yeah.
Their subscriber base, they're relying upon that subscriber base to bring in their money every month in order to justify the money they're spending. They're canceling shows after 3 seasons because they don't want to re-up with talent and renegotiate and spend more money. I mean, Santa Clarita Diet just went away. Eric McCormack's series Travelers is gone.
One Day at a Time just canceled.
One Day at a Time just got canceled. Norman Lear was not, they pissed off Norman Lear, one of the great legends of the television business. It's going to be interesting to see how they weather this storm, and it will be a storm for them. But again, I think that they're going to make it through because they've got stuff like Stranger Things, at least for a couple weeks when it's a water cooler show. But there's going to be other people that give them movies. I think they're going to have to figure out and innovate. And if anything, it'll be good for them in the long run because they can't be reliant on other people's content, which is what they knew years ago, which is why they've started to make their own way. And they've acquired really interesting foreign television shows, multi-language shows from India, shows from Latin America, shows from Spain. I mean, things we haven't seen. There's a lot of really interesting content. They're going to have to start promoting it, I think, differently, though.
Yeah, and you've seen it. You raise a good point because they have been in the last year or so, they've really been putting a stronger emphasis on the international market and expanding their portfolio that way because they know they're losing a little bit of ground here. What can't be good for Netflix is still seeing that the numbers on their own traffic still sway so heavily towards their curated content and not their original content. That's got to be concerning. Now, just last week, Rob, we went down this big list about, look, Netflix has some amazing original content, particularly in their TV series department. We did, just off the top of our heads, we did a list of 20 shows that they've got that are great and wonderful and fantastic. But yeah, Netflix still isn't seeing a big sway towards of their traffic going to their original material. It's still on the curated material, which is disappearing. Now you've got 28% of people saying that they're going to ditch. Again, I don't think the number's going to really be that high, but at least they're saying right now they're going to ditch. This isn't good. Now, Netflix did the right thing by getting ahead of this years ago by investing in their original content. We're going to have to wait and see right now if that investment is going to pay off. Because right now they're in debt, they're leveraged to the gills, they're spending unbelievable amounts of money. Here's hoping for Netflix's sake that this is a gamble that does actually pay off in the long run.